Okay, so this is a developer commentary of Chiaroscuro. My name is Luke.
I'm Rowan.
I'm Carter.
And yeah, this is our little game called Chiaroscuro. As you can see, we have a little intro cutscene, kind of just walking you through what actually, the kind of story that the game has, made by Rowan. Would you like to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I came up with a story, like, Chiaroscuro is an art term that means light and dark, and so I came up with the game kind of just based off of that. This game is a 2D puzzle platformer that you play two characters at the same time. They move separately, but they jump and attack at the same time, and you use them on the screen, so I kind of wanted to go into, like, the story wasn't super thought out, but I wanted to go into, like, the duality of light and dark and not make one better than the other, I guess.
Cool. Before we hop into the game, I'm going to open the credits panel and just kind of showcase all the assets and people who are involved. So, shout out to Luke Gifford, Rowan Have, Carter. I can't say last names. Why did I start saying...
my last name. Say my last name.
Bontje.
You know, that's basically right, honestly.
Okay, cool.
I was a lot closer than I was expecting.
I'll save you on
well
the
done.
next one. Emma Mandera.
Thank you. Dyani Larson. Dyani? Oh my god. Dyani Larson. I am so sorry. Dyani. And Trisha Yang. And the music was done by 119J. And just sound effects and fonts credits. Pretty much everything has been custom made for this game. So yeah. Let's just kind of hop into the first level, and I'll have Carter just kind of explain what's going on here.
Oh my god, they're so fast still.
Alright, so as a 2D puzzle platformer, players need to learn how to move, how to jump, how to interact with the world. And so we got all these little text boxes that Luke made to tell the player how to do that stuff. On the bottom screen with Chiaro, it's mostly basic, with just teaching them how to jump, having ledges that they need to jump in order to force them to learn it, otherwise they can't progress, and it wouldn't be very fun if they tried to progress and didn't know that there was a thing that they could do. And Scuro on the top screen has a box that they push around, and that kind of is twofold. It teaches them that they can push things, and also that they can jump on top of it to reach higher heights that they couldn't reach otherwise. And right here, it also teaches the player how to attack, more specifically on something that can't possibly hurt them, like a box. Because in either the next or the next level, enemies will be introduced, which could hurt the player, and don't really want to teach them that in that instance. And then Chiaro already did it, but they interacted with the lever that shows the player how to open and close doors. Obamo.
Lever action.
And then finally, in order to finish a level, both of the characters need to be on their respective goal zone.
We added a small little, like, gradient around them to make them a little bit more visible, because eventually in this level, if you wanted to get the gem that is a collectible on each level, which is just a little extra thing for the player to go for, when the characters switch worlds, they can be a little bit hard to see if they didn't have that around them. So as you can see, Scuro's a little bit easier to see with that purple background and then having the yellow around him.
I'm gonna collect that little gem. Little fun fact about the gem. There's a gem in each little world, or level, that is not required to collect, but makes a fun little sound that's really nice, and you can gloat about it on the level select screen because the levels keep track of where you've beat them and if you've collected the gem in them or not.
Yeah, we got cute little icons for that.
Yes, we do. We'll showcase that towards the end.
So here in 1-3, we got boxes that need to be used to cover these very large and treacherous pits. And it also has Chiaro helping Scuro out so that Scuro can progress. And yeah, I feel like this level is like the real beginning of the two characters needing to really help each other to actually progress. So that's a big part of this game.
This is one of my favorite levels just because I really like how it actually kind of challenges the player to think about what's going on with pushing the boxes. Like, you have to use Scuro to push that box on Chiaro's side, and you have to use Chiaro eventually to push that box on Scuro's side. And I just thought that was really cool to see, like, early on especially.
Yeah, something we wanted to focus on is we have two players, but we wanted to focus on making each player feel like they matter and is important to the other player's journey.
Yeah.
So that's why most of the puzzles, if not all of them, require both characters to interact, either directly or indirectly in some way.
I'd be curious to see, like, if you could get through certain levels with only one of them. Like, obviously you have to move one of them to the other portal, but if you could just do, like, all the puzzle parts with just one.
I want to say the very first level, and I think maybe the second to last or third to last level are technically entirely independent. First level is mostly just because that one's just teaching the players how to move.
Yeah.
Right.
Not making them think too hard about the other dude on the second half of the screen.
So I'm just kind of going through, kind of collecting the gems willy-nilly. Currently in this field of the game, there is no secret you unlock by collecting all the gems. However, that may be like a cute little cutscene we may be adding in the release.
I love that. I love that. How it just kills him.
Yep, this is the first level of the second world, and so I wanted to first show the player how the falling spikes work, and not by forcing the player to learn it the hard way. And so instead, I had an enemy learn it the hard way and show that the falling spikes will fall when something moves under them, and it will hurt.
Also trigger that with the Magma enemy 2 by Chiaro opening that door for Scuro.
And additionally, those kind of glassy looking floors, those are all slippery, and so with the pressure plate that was first introduced in World 1, now you have to be more precise with your movement in order to actually stay on the pressure plate to open the door for Scuro. And then here at the end of the level, we have a fun little final sprint before getting stabbed.
Impaled, even.
So yeah, here's more moving around with the slippery floors and the fallen spikes. Got an enemy blocking the lever, so you gotta time jumping down there. And both of the characters had to flip each of their individual levers in order to make the doors appear so that you can use the doors as platforms as opposed to just opening a door into a new part of the level.
I think this might be a good point to talk about some of the art. So I did the character animations for Scuro and Chiaro, and also acted essentially as art director with figuring out concept art and color schemes and all that for the levels. Emma worked on the backgrounds as well as the tile sets. So these beautiful little, at least for these ones, the ice platforms and like the little magma platforms. And then Trisha did some of the smaller assets like the levers and some other smaller assets in the other levels, as well as the enemies that you find in each level. And what we were trying to go for each world, essentially, is that I wanted to have the light world kind of stay with warm colors and the dark world to stay with cool colors, and to try to use complementary colors generally to keep up the contrast of like light and dark.
This level introduces the player to the concept of geysers, which will push the players in the upward direction relative to that player. I'm sure, as you've noticed by now, Chiaro and Scuro have their own individual gravity. So I believe it's Chiaro who has more of a traditional play style with the normal jump. However, Scuro has a little bit of wonky gravity there, where he is permanently stuck on the ceiling.
Maybe Chiaro's on the ceiling and Scuro's on the floor, and we're just looking at the whole game upside down. Did you ever think of that?
That could be the case. This puzzle is a little bit difficult. We're starting to increase the difficulty here in 2-4, I believe.
Yeah, that should be right.
Where now you have to push a box across a slippery platform, and if, for example, the box touches one of the geysers, it respawns back, and you have to do the section again.
Yep.
Not only does the slippery platforms affect Chiaro, but it also affects boxes. So if I do like a quick push, we can see the box slides a little bit before coming to a stop, compared to its usual traction.
You got
I
greedy.
When I first played this, that took me like 4 tries.
Oh, me too, absolutely.
Am I gonna get... Okay, maybe I shouldn't be greedy. Maybe I shouldn't be greedy.
I remember when I showed this game to a friend, he kept trying to specifically like launch Chiaro with the geysers up to that spot without the box. And at one point, I think he got it because he had Scuro actually come up and like make it so that he was walking on Chiaro's feet, so that they were basically supporting each other.
Oh.
Yeah, the Chiaro and Scuro standing on each other is probably one of, if not my favorite features in this game.
Can be kind of hard to land though.
Oh, absolutely. The level needs to be like a specific way in order for them to actually land on each other.
Woo! Woo! Alright. After this long loading
They're just so hyped for the next level.
Yeah!
They're fired up.
Pumped.
You know, I'm not sure if they should be this excited though. I think we have
world of pain.
I think we might have an issue. Hold on. Alright, sorry about that. We had a few hours of technical difficulties we had to fix up, but now we're back in 2-5.
One of my favorite parts about these, the 1-5, 2-5, and 3-5 levels, is that the music is different because we originally had Jay compose a boss track that we were thinking about adding, but we did not have enough time to implement that. So instead we used it for these marginally harder levels, and honestly it's like one of my favorite songs in the game.
It is such a bop and a groove. I think it's probably my favorite track in the whole game.
Yeah, I have to agree. This is only like my second time listening to it. I enjoy it very much.
Alright, cool. Let's go on to 3-1 now. Something we wanted to do with these levels is kind of switch things up. So that the levels are now divided vertically instead of horizontally like they have been previously. However, the gravity is still the same.
One thing too with these levels is that there's a little bit less focus on some of the puzzle aspects and more focus on the platforming.
The reason that we went with more of a platforming as opposed to puzzle in World 3 is mostly because a lot of the World 3 specific mechanics, like the lightning clouds and the moving platforms, kind of lend themselves more so to moving, especially vertically, as opposed to puzzle stuff. So that was our main reason for going in that direction.
I love the way that like Chiaro goes down on these little platforms in this section. It's just fun to watch.
The following platforms are really... They're one of my favorite like parts in this game. I think probably my favorite mechanic though is probably the geysers. Not biased whatsoever.
Not at all.
No way.
Mainly because it allowed me to flex my muscles when it came to using Unity's particle system.
Which you can see beautifully on the gems and the portals as well. Which I think really adds some life to them, because otherwise they're kind of stagnant without it.
Yeah. Oh, I just took damage from that lizard. Oops.
I was gonna say, you just kind of just took that.
I kind of just took that.
Whenever I've played this level, because I totally forget about that with trying to platform Scuro up there, I always kill it with Chiaro first. Which is kind of hard to aim, just because you're trying to attack and get the jump at the same time, but...
Yeah.
That level also introduced the semi-solid platforms, which, with Scuro trying to move around on the moving platform, it forces the player to... Like, they can jump through it in some directions, but not in others.
Is this the first level with the mushrooms?
Yes, this is the introduction to the bouncy mushrooms and bouncy clouds.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see, but there's a bouncy cloud over there. Something we'll have to make a little bit more visible with the UI, because it's currently covering it. But there are springy pink clouds and mushrooms that bounce you around. I think that was actually the first mechanic we ever finished.
I think it was too.
We made the clouds first. They were originally a bit of a different color. They were a little bit darker pink and that looked a little bit odd. Originally what I wanted to do with this level was to try to keep it, not have too much white, because originally the background clouds were a lot whiter and it made it harder to see if, you know, the foreground clouds that you walk on were also this like, you know, pale pink, close to white color. But it looked very fleshy beforehand because they were like a darker pink.
Yeah. Alright. I think this is 3-4 now.
Yep. So yeah, in this level... yeah, in this level, the mushrooms, this time you don't want to bounce on them because they'll bounce you straight into the spikes.
Sorry, I'm just doing a little bit of wave dashing.
Advanced tech.
Advanced tech, yeah. Alright, so we are at the final level of Chiaroscuro, 3-5. Really focusing on the platforming with this level.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a very scary pit of spikes at the bottom here.
Yeah.
Spooky.
Yeah. It is very much, if I touch the spikes or the wrong cloud, I'd just die. Like this. I'm going to die now. You know what? Hold on. Let me die again on purpose this time. And I'll show off our wonderful lose screen real quick.
I will say what's kind of interesting is that you can be damaged at the same time, or like 2 separate times. They don't both get the invincibility.
only the player that gets damaged gets the invincibility. That way, you can't like coordinate a damage boost between the individual players. But yeah, that was our wonderful lose screen. It plays a nice little sad piano now that both Chiaro and Scuro have died.
I am in tears.
You did this to them. Alright, I gotta get better at landing my jumps.
Precision platform. Oh,
there we go.
Fire.
You're a gamer, Luke.
Thank you. So yeah, the kind of whole goal with this is to bounce off the clouds or mushrooms, depending on which player, or to create a bridge for them to finally get home to their own realm. And that also gives the other player an easier time, because they aren't threatened by the massive pit of spikes.
Oh, little bug there.
Not unless you get sent
Unless you
flying
get
like a rocket.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Does that happen when you hit the jump at the same time?
Yes. So when you hit the jump at the same time, it does increase the jump force. I think I can show that off with this cloud.
I honestly forgot that was a thing.
It's funny.
It's hard to get the timing right, but it is possible.
We've got the banging, the 3-5 track again, the little boss track.
I love this track.
I think it works really well for this one too, just because of the scary little spike bit and the precision with platforming here. Kind of gets the blood pumping.
True.
It makes my bad platforming skills a little bit more bearable to do. So now that we finally have both bridges made, we can now win. Which, pressing next level here will take you back to the main menu. Fun fact about the main menu, every time you reload it, the background is randomized between all the levels names. So you get a unique combination every time.
Which sometimes ends up looking pretty funny, admittedly.
Yes.
Yeah.
We did forget, however, to show off 1-5. So let me go back and we'll play the first 5 level, one of the hardest ones. Not as hard as 3-5, but still moderately hard.
Harder than the other 1 levels. World 1 level.
I would even go so far to say as possibly even harder than some of the 2- levels, personally. But yeah, and that is an entire playthrough of Chiaroscuro. Fun little fact about Chiaroscuro. I was playing the entire game in keyboard mode. However, you can play with a controller. The inputs are a little bit different, but the underlying mechanics are still the same. It's just a nice accessibility option that we included. But yeah, that was Chiaroscuro. Do you guys have anything else you guys would like to say before ending this little developer commentary?
Level design is my passion.
Level design is your passion. Go back to the keyboard controls really quick.
Yeah, sure.
I just want to talk about them quick. So what we did is that on the left hand you're using Chiaro, the right hand you're using Scuro, and you share the space between both thumbs. So what you can do is when you play the game like this, you could play either single player or you could do local co-op with one person's hand on one side and one person's hand on the other side. A little bit, not exactly, can't quite do that with a controller, but I think that would make it weird anyway if both people were on a single controller.
It is a little bit more difficult to do it with a controller, but if you would like to play in local co-op, we do recommend using keyboard controls for that. But yeah, that's kind of it. Thank you for watching, and we really hope you guys enjoy our game.
Oh shit.